Hi guys, and I'm Retro Critic here. And today, this video is just going to be a little experimental video. And today, I'm going to try out something new today. I'm going to try out a little idea that I have, and that's me talking about movie news. Where I talk about movie news. And this is where I talk about, topics on film and media on the day. This is where I talk about topics on like film and actors and celebrities, just entertainment news, basically. So that's what I'm going to be talking about today. And I want to talk about just a few things today. And you can kind of say maybe some stuff will be a mini rant, because I'll have like a small rant on like some stuff here and there. So other than that, I just want to give my thoughts on just what I think about current things. I want to give my thoughts on what I think about cinema nowadays. I'm going to talk about a few topics right now on the film industry and entertainment news. So here I go. So first off, right off the bat, I want to talk about my thoughts on James Cameron. I want to be clear about my real thoughts on James Cameron. So let me be clear. I think James Cameron is a talented director. I like his work. I like his early work specifically. Okay, I think he fell from grace after Linda Hamilton. I think he fell from grace after Linda Hamilton took his balls away. And what I mean by that is, I think he fell from grace after Linda Hamilton divorced him. Because a lot of people don't know that Linda Hamilton was married to James Cameron. But yes, Linda Hamilton was married to James Cameron at one point. And I can kind of see why she divorced him. So I believe after the divorce, James Cameron was not the same. Or just like a George Lucas, like Maria Lucas. Like how Maria Lucas divorced George Lucas. How George Lucas is kind of full of his ego and stuck to his vision. And, it's similar to where George Lucas doesn't take anybody else's input on stuff, or doesn't hear anybody else's opinion but just his. Now, and I do like George Lucas too. George Lucas is a very talented director, and I actually always do respect George Lucas's vision. And I think George Lucas has some genuine and sincere merit to his vision as a director and his work. And I always like his work, and I always respect George Lucas. So, that's George Lucas, and I always respect that guy. But that's George Lucas. But that's George Lucas. I'm not here to talk about George Lucas. I'm here to talk about James Cameron. I want to be clear my thoughts on James Cameron. I just want to clear the record of how I really feel about James Cameron. So these are my thoughts on him. So I'm here to talk about James Cameron. This is how I really feel about him. But like I said, look, James Cameron had balls back in the day. Okay, he was ballsy. He had some balls back in the day when he made like True Lies and The Abyss and Terminator 1 and 2 and Aliens and all that stuff. But I believe Linda Hamilton literally took his balls away. After that, James Cameron just became a wuss. He was ballless. He was not ballsy anymore. He was ballless. He was a pussy. He sucked after. He was a pussy. He sucked after that. I think James Cameron sucked after that. I'm not a big fan. I think James Cameron sucked after that. Now, and listen, that doesn't mean he's not a talented director. Like, I respect his vision. I respect him as a talented director. I liked his early work. I liked the stuff he made. I just think he fell from grace later on. Okay, when he made like Titanic and those Avatar movies. Okay. And let me be clear. I like Aliens. I like The Abyss. I like True Lies. I love Terminator 1 and 2. And so on and so forth. Those are pretty much my favorite James Cameron films, okay? Those are pretty much the James Cameron films I like. But here's the thing. But when he did like Titanic and those Avatar movies, that's where I feel like he fell from grace. That's where I feel like he kind of sucked after that. Saying that I feel like he fell from grace after that. I think he sucked after that. And I'll tell you why. Look, I think James Cameron... And listen, let me be clear. And I told you how I feel about those Avatar movies before. I don't think you need to make 3 or 6 more Avatar movies. I'm done with Avatar. I'm not interested. You can like Avatar, but not... That's just... You can like Avatar, but not me. Hey, teach your own. Okay, I respect your opinion. Please respect mine. Simple as that, okay? But here's the thing. And yes, now, Titanic was a very well-made movie. I'm just not a big fan of it. I think it's a generic, bland love story, okay? I know, that's his way. I know that's, like, their way of trying to make a story out of a real-life tragic event. I get that. I get you have to, like, make some kind of fictional story to a real-life tragic event. I get that. I get his shoes. I understand where he was coming from when he came up with that idea. But here's the thing. I'm just not a big fan of the movie, okay? And here's the thing, I want to be clear that I'm not the biggest fan of just Titanic, okay? Like, I'm not a big fan of his Avatar movie. I mean, I like Avatar. I mean, if you saw my review of Avatars, you know what I mean. But I talked about Avatar before. But yes, I do like his first two Avatar movies. So they're not that bad movies, Avatar. Avatar 1 and 2 are just okay movies, in my opinion, okay? I'm just not the biggest fan of them. There are other action sci-fi movies I prefer than those movies, okay? When it comes to Titanic, oh my god, look. Titanic, look. Like I said, it's interesting. It's great that it's based on a real life tragedy. You know, this is a movie based on a real life tragedy of the sinking of the Titanic. And I understand this is his way of just trying to come up with a story in a real life event. I get that, but here's the thing. And look, I mean, I'm not dismissing the fact that like worked hard on that movie. I mean, Titanic was the highest grossing film at the time. It has its fans. It's very popular. You know, Titanic was a big budget. The effects are impressive. Like it was the highest grossing film at the time. Titanic has its fans. Like, Titanic was a very successful movie when it came out, and it was even successful in like the 2012 re-release. Okay, and that movie later on did have a re-release in theaters in 2012, and that also was successful. So it did well in the box office in 1997. Because Titanic was released in 1997, and it did well in the box office when that movie came out at that time. And look, I mean, I think the effects are impressive. I think he did some really well-made practical effects in that movie. I think the effects are really impressive in that movie, but that's it. That's pretty much the only nice thing I can say about that movie. And like, look, I just think Titanic is just a generic love story. A generic, bland love story, and that's it. Now, I think I said lazy at one point in the previous video. Yeah, I meant lazy. I don't think the people that made it was lazy. I just think the movie itself just sucked into lazy. That's how I feel about it, okay? And James Cameron lost his way with what I'm saying. Lost his way is what I'm saying. Just not the same anymore is what I'm saying. And look, I remember, you know, and in my previous video, yes, I said the word lazy. Lazy and generic, that's what I said. Well, first of all, I think the story's generic, but when I say lazy, I just mean like, that. I was referring more of James Cameron, by the way. When I say lazy, I just mean like James Cameron specifically, okay? James Cameron lost his way. James Cameron's not the same anymore. Okay, after True Lies, when we made that movie, Titanic, okay? We made that movie later on, Titanic, okay? He was not the same more after that divorce is what I'm saying. But listen carefully. That's how I feel. But also, and yes, I just think it's a generic story. I think it's a bland as fuck love story. I'm not the biggest fan of the bland love story. I think it's a lame movie. I think it sucked. I'm not the biggest fan of it. It's just not for me. And politely, that's just my opinion. That's just how I feel about it, okay? Simple as that. And yes, James Cameron was not the same after True Lies. I think True Lies was like the last real James Cameron movie he made. Because True Lies, to me, was like the last real James Cameron movie that he made. Okay? And in my opinion, James Cameron was not the same after the divorce. Look, I know that movie Titanic has its fans, but it's just not for me, okay? I know that movie Titanic has its fans, and that's okay. You can like that movie, but please respect my opinion. I respect your opinion, but please respect my opinion. And that's how I feel about it. That's my honest feelings about that movie, and that's my thoughts on that movie Titanic. So just please be polite of just my opinions on that movie Titanic, okay? Teach their own, okay? You can like that movie, but I don't have to. You like that movie, but I don't have to. I mean, I'm not going after people's opinions. Please understand what I'm saying on my opinion, and please respect my opinion. But please, I don't like to be taken out of context, and at least watch the full video, because that's not what I said. Because I'm not putting words in people's mouth, okay? I'm not putting words in people's mouth. But let me tell you something. So, like, you know, I don't know, please watch the whole thing if you know what I mean, but still. But other than that, that's my thoughts on James Cameron. I'm glad I cleared that up, okay? And that's how I feel about James Cameron, okay? And that's how I feel about Titanic. And those are my thoughts on Titanic, and that's how I feel about it, okay? So that's all I gotta say about that. That's all I gotta say about James Cameron. So have nice discourse in the comments, because I said, like, my true thoughts on James Cameron, okay? And also, yes, let's have better discourse, please. And like I said, there should be better discourse in the comments, and better discourse on YouTube. And, like, what happened to good discourse on YouTube? I mean, I'll go on and on, but still, and here's the thing, but that's all I gotta say about that. Now, the next thing I want to talk about is my thoughts on Marvel and DC. You know, I've reviewed the Batman recently, and I love the Batman, okay? And I always loved Tim Burton's Batman, and I actually did get some enjoyment out of Batman Forever. Now, I don't like Batman Robin. Okay, now Batman Robin is a bad movie, but I can get some campy fun out of it. You know, I can get some guilty pleasure out of Batman Robin, to be honest with you. Batman Begins, I actually like. I can get fun out of it. The Dark Knight, I always liked. I always liked The Dark Knight. Even though I think that movie, The Dark Knight, is extremely overrated, I still think The Dark Knight is a decent movie in the end. Dark Knight Rises, I don't know. Really not a big fan. That movie was okay. I mean, The Dark Knight Rises was okay. I always liked Bane. Look, I always liked the Joker and the Dark Knight. The Flecker as the Joker is always great to me. And I like Bane, Tom Hardy's Bane. And hey, I really like Tom Hardy as Bane. Bane was like the best part of that movie in The Dark Knight Rises. Other than that, I think The Dark Knight Rises sucked. I'm not the biggest fan. I'm not the biggest fan of The Dark Knight Rises or the Christopher Nolan trilogy. Okay, I'm not the biggest fan of the Christopher Nolan trilogy, whether you like it or not. But in Christian Bale, I don't like Christian Bale as Batman. Christian Bale was not a bad Batman. I didn't mind Christian Bale as Batman in like Batman Begins and The Dark Knight. Like he was terrible in Batman Begins. In The Dark Knight, he was clearly just doing that like voice, that deep voice he was in. And he was alright in that movie, but in The Dark Knight Rises, I just could not stand Christian Bale. I had enough Christian Bale. I don't think Christian Bale. He's no Kevin Conroy, okay? May he rest in peace. He's no Robert Pattinson or Ben Affleck, okay? Just Christian Bale. I thought he was just overboard for the part. I think he's just a complete. I think Christian Bale was an exaggeration of the character, and that's how I feel about Christian Bale. I mean, Christian Bale was all right. He was just not perfect as Batman. Okay, Christian Bale was a decent Batman. I don't think he fit the role very well. I think Kevin Conroy is the perfect Batman. May he rest in peace. Love Kevin Conroy. He does a good Bruce Wayne voice, and he does a perfect Batman voice. He's perfect as the voice of Batman, and he's definitely on top and really fancy and really good with his voice of Bruce Wayne. Really love that stuff. Ben Affleck was decent. I always thought Ben Affleck as Batman was underrated now. He's okay. This is not... I think Ben Affleck was a decent Batman. A more entertaining Batman. He breaks the rules, but I love it that. Ben Affleck, sure, he breaks some rules. He kills because Batman doesn't kill, but Ben Affleck kills. That's kind of what I like about him. I mean, fuck the rules. He's like, fuck the rules of conduct, but his code, fuck his code, But because he just like, I'm gonna kill whoever I want. I like that. I mean, Batman doesn't kill. That's his rule. And I always respect about the character, but the fact that he kills is a unique and interesting take. Like, I was open to the idea that he kills people. Like, Ben Affleck's Batman, I thought it was an interesting take where he kills people instead, so that's kind of why I think Ben Affleck is actually a pretty good Bruce Wayne, really. Now, Ben Affleck's Batman is actually decent. I think he does a pretty good voice. Like, the voice not as deep as Christian Bale, thank God. Or cartoonish like Christian Bale, but he does a good impression of Batman. I like his mannerism as Batman. He's an entertaining Batman. I think he's a fun Batman in mind. And I always like Robert Pattinson. Michael Keaton, come on. Who doesn't love him? I'll go on. And look, I mean, Robert Pattinson to me is the best Batman. Like, he fits a perfect Batman to me. I love his version of Batman. Robert Pattinson is a really good Batman. I love his Batman. I think he does a good job of portraying the character very well of Batman Bruce Wayne. I think he gives a more human side to Bruce Wayne and a very interesting side to Batman. I think he conveys imposing figure of his character, a good emotion of his character, good shadowy. He feels like truly the dark. He does a good shadowy figure of him. He does a good job of posing the Dark Knight figure. That's what I like about it. I'll go on. I could talk, and I love Michael Keaton. Enough said. Michael Keaton's great. Michael Keaton is perfect as Batman. Love how Michael Keaton's coming back in The Flash. Okay, I'm gonna check that out. The Flash, especially Michael Keaton. Okay, and it's cool that Ben Affleck's coming back in The Flash. So it's cool that Ben Affleck and Michael Keaton, two Batmans, are gonna be in The Flash. That's awesome. I'm gonna check that out. I'm gonna try to watch the movie. I might talk about that movie later. I'm gonna try to give I might maybe give my thoughts about that movie later. We'll see. If I feel like it, we'll see. Val Kilmer, Adam West, George Clooney, great. And I'm not here to talk about all the other Batmans. I just want to give just my feelings and thoughts on Batman and just the DCU. I'll get to that. But Val Kilmer, I thought, was very underrated as Batman. I think he does a good job, like, doing a intimidating and imposing voice and figure of the character. George Clooney was actually decent as Batman. I just think George Clooney was just okay as Batman. Adam West, who does not love Adam West as Batman? Adam West, may he rest in peace too. Okay, he was a more comic side, more funny side of Batman. May he rest in peace. But no, Adam West is a fun version of Batman, comical side. And back in the comics, Batman was more comic and more comical and cheesy and campy. Campy fun. Who doesn't love Adam West's campy fun? That's why I like him. Because back in the day, in the comics and the TV show, Batman was more campy and comedic back then. Batman was more fun and cheesy. Batman was more, it was light, he gave a more light-hearted tone of Batman. In the comics, it's like, now people gotta remember that the comics back in the day and the TV show back in the day was more lighthearted and fun at the time. People gotta remember that. And that's what I love about Adam West's take on Batman. He gave you a more campy side of Batman. He gave you a more lighthearted side of Batman. He's the lighthearted Batman. Adam West gives a more campy, fun side of Batman, a very entertaining side, a very hilarious take on Batman. But Adam West does such a very like he takes the role very seriously with the character. That's what I like about that. You know, I like how Adam West just plays the character straight with just a hilarious script as Batman. Just it's such a hilarious it's such a cheesy show in the Batman TV series. That's what I like about him. Okay, like Adam West plays it straight. He plays the role. He takes the role seriously as Batman. No matter how cheesy the script is, no matter how goofy and comical the show was, he always plays it straight with that character, Adam West. So that's what I love about Adam West. Adam West was more fun Batman. Adam West was a very fun and enjoyable Batman to watch. Okay, I always like Adam West. Adam West was a charm and just such a delight to watch. And those are my thoughts on all the Batman. Those are my thoughts on how I feel about all the Batman actors that portray the character, okay? Well, most of the actors that portrayed the character. That's how I feel about that. But I'm really here to talk about the DCU. I want to talk about the DCU and Marvel. So the DCU and Marvel, I'm mixed on the idea. Now, you know, I have not talked about Zack Snyder's Justice League, but I'm not the biggest fan of... I didn't mind the Snyder cut, but I'm not the biggest fan of his version of the Justice League. I'll put it like that. And yes, I think the DCU does need to be rebooted. The Flash, it's a good way. It's a transition of a reboot. I know people are upset and disappointed by that, but think about it. The DCU does need a real good reboot. It needs a reboot, okay? Like, I'm glad the Flash is an opportunity for that, to reboot it, to completely reset the continuity. And it's a good transition to the new reboot. And listen, I know a lot of people are upset that they're, like, you know, resetting the continuity of the DCU, and I can understand where people are coming from. You know, I can totally feel where people are coming from, but I think it's a good decision, and I'm going to tell you why. I think it needs that. I think we do need a real fresh start. Like I said, I think Zack Snyder is an okay director. I don't mind Zack Snyder's work. I like his Dawn of the Dead remake. His version of Justice League sucked. Well, the theatrical cut of Justice League sucked. But when I saw the Snyder cut of Justice League, I mean, the Snyder cut of Justice League was like 4 hours long. It was overbearing. It was just forever. I thought it was an okay movie. It was better than the theatrical cut, I'll tell you that. But it didn't change how I feel about that. Okay? Yes, it's technically better. It was at least horrible than the theatrical cut. But that's not saying much. I just think the Snyder cut was just an okay movie. It was like way too long. It was 4 hours long. It was way too long for its own good. Way too long. I thought it dragged. I thought the story was just there. You know, I mean, the story was, like, interesting in some parts, but, you know, hey, I mean, I think the villain's cool, you know, and it's cool that you're going to want to bring Darkseid, but I want to see him in another movie. And let me just say this. I'm not a big fan of that movie, okay? And sure, it's cool that, like, in the director's cut, Darkseid was in it. And I know, you know, if Snyder continued, he'll make a sequel to the Justice League. But it doesn't change my mind, okay? Like, look, I like Darkseid as a villain. And it's cool that Darkseid was in this director's cut. But that doesn't change my mind how I feel about the movie, okay? Darkseid, if he was in a sequel, maybe it would have been cool. Maybe it would have been more cool if Zack Snyder has the opportunity to direct a sequel. It would have been cool to see Darkseid as the villain. Like, I want to, like, see Darkseid in the next movie possibly, but we're not going to get that, unfortunately. It was cool seeing the ending of Justice League, just it's a what could have been. That's cool, I'll give it that. The movie is a what could have been, you know, in the epilogue in the Justice League director's cut, the Snyder cut. In the epilogue of the Snyder cut, it's a what could have been of, like, Dark Superman, Ben Affleck's Batman, works with Jay Leno as the Joker. They both team up to fight Dark Superman and Darkseid, where Darkseid has control of Dark Superman. They have to stop Dark Superman. That was fucking cool. Where, you know, Dark Superman, where it's an apocalyptic future where they have to, like, stop Darkseid, and it's in the apocalyptic future where, like, Dark Superman is like taking over. And Batman has to fight his rival and best friend Superman, and he has to fight Dark Superman that's under control, that's, like, turn evil or just turn That was interesting. It's a cool what could have been. It's really cool to see. I thought it was really fascinating seeing that. And look, I mean, I think we should appreciate the fact that that's all what we're gonna get, and we're most likely not gonna get another sequel to this. So, you know, that's it. And I think it's best for us to like start a new DCU. Because listen, think about it. Like the other DC movies sucked. Like Shazam, that movie sucked balls. Like I saw that movie and that sucked ass. Not a big fan of it. Sorry. And you know, and look, and the news where Henry Carvel was replaced sucked. Like the news of Henry Carvel was replaced sucked. I agree. But maybe it's best to have a new Superman. And look, I was one of those people that was butthurt and was kind of disappointed that like Henry Cavill was let go as Superman. Like they replaced Henry Cavill as Superman. That sucked. And then they want to make a new Superman movie. And I just give up, you know. And look, maybe it's the best for rebooting this. I mean, Black Adam sucked, okay? Shazam sucked, okay? Shazam was a piece of shit. Black Adam, I thought maybe would have been a guilty pleasure. I'm not kidding. When I saw Black Adam, I at least, like, coming in, I thought it was maybe bad or so bad's good. Bad or so bad's good. And I kind of expected, you know what, maybe I can have a guilty pleasure of this. But no, it wasn't. Even briefly rewatching that movie, it just sucked ass. It was just that bad, like Black Adam. Black Adam, I found no enjoyment out of. I can't find any guilty pleasure or any, like, fun enjoyment out of that movie, Black Adam. Black Adam was just that bad. So maybe it is best to reboot the DCU, okay? And I think we do need a real reboot of the DCU. I know it sucks, but I think we do need a proper restart of the DCU to make it better, okay? And I know it sucks to redo the DCU, but I'm sorry, but it's true. And I think we do need to reboot the DCU. And that's how I feel about that. Marvel, oh god, don't get me started on Marvel. Marvel, oh god. Ant-Man 3 sucked ass. I like the villain, Khan, I like Khan. Secret Invasion just looks shit. I hear bad reviews of it. It looks shit. Secret Invasion, okay. I know they want to do the Kong, you know, the King Dynasty. Like, look, King in Ant-Man 3 was cool. Like, I love Jonathan Majors as King. Jonathan Majors was like played a cool villain as King in Ant-Man 3. And let's be honest, Jonathan Majors as King was like the only best part of that movie in Ant-Man 3. Ant-Man 3 sucked ass. It's visual spectacle. Like, that movie was a CGI dump fest. And that's the thing. I actually like early Marvel, like Iron Man. First two Iron Man movies, the first two Avenger movies I actually liked. In terms of superhero movies, well, I actually like The Punisher and Daredevil 2003, Hulk 2003, Spawn I like, the Blade movies I like. So there. Those are the real superhero movies I prefer. Those are the real superhero movies I liked. And listen, I used to like Marvel. I used to like early Marvel, like, you know, like Hulk 2003, like The Incredible Hulk 2008. I even like the 2003 Daredevil. I even like Daredevil from 2003. I really like that one. I like The Punisher of Dolph Lundgren. Even The Punisher of Thomas Jane. I like those. I like all those Punisher movies. I like Spawn and the Spawn TV series. I like the Blade movies with Wesley Snipes. I will go on and on. Those are the real super movies I prefer. To me, those are the real adult superhero movies that I prefer watching. Okay, but these are the adult superhero movies that I prefer. Okay, so Marvel just sucked. Okay, fuck Secret Invasion, that was a piece of shit. It's dull and boring, the same dull, boring bullshit. You're not gonna get anything out of it. I would rather watch Pulp Fiction, I would rather watch Armageddon, I would rather watch Scarface, I would rather watch Goodfellas than all these fucking Marvel movies, okay? And the type of movies I like to watch horror movies and sci-fi action movies. And maybe some dramas, and that's it. Mostly horror and action movies. I love horror and action movies, simple as that. And the type of movies I like to watch is like, you know, I like to watch, Arnold Schwarzenegger movies. We'll watch Sylvester Stallone movies, Steven Seagal movies I really liked, especially earlier work. Jean-Claude Van Damme movies I really liked. Dolph Lundgren movies I liked. Jackie Chan movies I liked. Chuck Norris films I like to watch. Jeff Speedman films, for God's sake. Harrison Ford films, I really like his work. Honestly, and when it comes to action films I usually prefer to watch, I mean, you know, I like to watch Chuck Norris films. I even like to watch like Jeff Speedman films, like Deadly Outbreak or The Perfect Weapon. Those are my favorite from Jeff Speedman. I like Chuck Norris, and I always loved Chuck Norris and his martial arts films and his action canon films. I always like his canon films. I always like his martial arts films. First of all, Jeff Speedman is a really underrated martial artist. He's a really good martial artist. Really good martial artist, that guy is. And also, Jeff Speedman is a really nice guy in real life, I hear, so that's good to know. That's really nice to know. But what I like from Jeff Speedman is Deadly Outbreak and The Perfect Weapon. Those are my favorite from his. I'll go on, so on and so forth, okay? Really, really underrated gems of action movies from Jeff Speedman. I'll go on. Yeah, I could talk about this all day, okay? There's better movies out there than fucking superhero movies. And the type of superhero movies I prefer to watch is Batman, Superman, Spider-Man, Iron Man 1 and 2, Avengers 1 and 2, Hulk, Daredevil, Punisher, Blade, Spawn, okay? The adult superhero movie. Because there are tons of superhero movies I prefer to watch than modern-day Marvel. And not everything's superhero movies. Not everything is superhero movies, okay? No, the real superhero movies I like, well, first of all, the real superhero characters I like, and the real superhero movies I actually always like to watch is Batman, Superman, Spider-Man, Iron Man, and so forth. I'll go on. Iron Man, and so forth. I'll go on. But when it comes to, like, superhero films, well, here are the adult superhero films. Well, the superhero films I prefer to watch are really more of the, mature and are really more of the adult and violent superhero movies, and that's, that's The Punisher, Spawn, Blade, Hellboy, and so on and so forth. And Hellboy, I really like Hellboy. Those are the superhero movies. The violent ones I really like to watch. Those are the ones I prefer to watch, okay? I like the Punisher TV series. I'll go on. I like The Suicide Squad from 2021, not Suicide Squad from 2016. Suicide Squad from 2016 sucked and was a bad movie. It was a really shitty movie. I think we can all agree that movie was garbage, okay? But The Suicide Squad by James Gunn, I felt like was redemption. Like, The Suicide Squad from 2021, I actually enjoyed the movie. I actually liked that movie. I had a good time with it. I really liked that movie. And I do like the Guardians of the Galaxy movies, I just think the Guardians of the Galaxy movies are right. I just feel like the Guardians of the Galaxy films are decent. I think they ran their course. I think the Guardians of the Galaxy films kind of ran their course what they need to be. I think they're just okay movies in the day. I don't think they're that great, let's be honest. I prefer other movies instead. James Gunn's an alright director. I like James Gunn. James Gunn, I think, is more better. I think James Gunn, always fits in DC. I think James Gunn, is more better at DC, really, okay? Okay, I'll go on. And Secret Invasion, and let me just say something. Secret Invasion sucked. Secret Invasion was a dull TV series, and also, I really like the Punisher TV series. The Punisher TV series was really good. I really like that series. I really like the Daredevil series. The Daredevil series is really good. The Daredevil series is really underrated. I love that shit. But Secret Invasion was just another example why Marvel is failing. Secret Invasion is just exactly why people cannot stand Marvel, and that's why I fucking hate it. I cannot stand Marvel. So, and that's why I cannot stand Marvel, and those are my thoughts on that. Look, just fuck Marvel. Fuck Marvel. I'm done with Marvel. I'm done with Marvel. Fuck that shit. So, all I gotta say is that Marvel is not like real cinema. Like, Marvel's not like the type of cinema I prefer to watch. People have not seen enough movies, okay? People need to see real movies out there besides Marvel, okay? So, I just, for all due respect, people just gotta, like, get off of Marvel, okay? I just had enough of Marvel. So, those are my feelings on Marvel. Sorry, that's just how I feel about Marvel. God, I'll go on about Marvel, but Marvel, no. She-Hulk is ass. She-Hulk needs to suck my dick. She-Hulk is an insult to my intelligence. She-Hulk is an insult to humanity. It's a disgrace. It's a disgrace to Planet Hulk, the original 1970s Hulk TV series, the 1990s anime Hulk TV series, the 2003 Hulk movie, and then the underrated 2008 The Incredible Hulk. I love that movie. Really underrated. I find the 2003 Hulk underrated and the 2008 The Incredible Hulk movie underrated. I've seen some episodes of the 1970s and the early 80s TV series, the original TV series. I love that one. No, I've seen some episodes. It's actually a good TV series. I watched a few episodes of the animated 90s Hulk TV series. Holy shit, the 1990s Fox Kids animated Marvel animated TV series, The Incredible Hulk, is super duper underrated. One around from 1996, super duper underrated, great series, really great series. And Mark Ruffalo as the Hulk sucked ass, okay? It should have been Edward Norton, but maybe Edward Norton jumped out of a sinking ship. Man was the best, because maybe Edward... Let me just say this. I don't like Mark Ruffalo as the Hulk. I think Mark Ruffalo sucked as the Hulk. I hate him in the Avengers. I mean, he was horrible maybe in the first two Avengers movies, but later on, he sucked ass. He's a wimp. He tries to be like a social justice warrior, and the Hulk is now a fucking, like, man-child. The Hulk just comes off me as a fucking loser in that movie. Avengers Endgame and Infinity War, I fucking hate me. But let me just say this. But, look, Edward Norton should have been the Hulk. Again, he should have reprised his role as the Hulk in the first Avengers movie. But here's the thing. Maybe Edward Norton jumped off the second ship. Like, he saw things through. He saw ahead what was going to happen. Like, he recognized he didn't want to be part of this. And I think he kind of, like, dropped the role. I think he just moved on from the role for the best, okay? Same thing with Robert Downey Jr. And, look, I know that a lot of Gen Z millennials, well, not just millennials, but mostly Gen Z was introduced to Robert Downey Jr. in, like, Iron Man and the Avengers. Well, I hate to break it to you. Now, I mostly remember Robert Downey Jr. and I remember him in that movie with Mel Gibson called Air America. He was in this, like, action-adventure movie with Mel Gibson, and it was called Air America. Really underrated movie, check that out. That's where I remember Robert Downey Jr. And I like Robert Downey Jr. in the Sherlock Holmes movies, and I love Robert Downey Jr. on Tropic Thunder. You know, hilarious. Plays my favorite character in the movie. Hilarious movie. Funny movie. I highly recommend it. Check it out. That's where I mostly know Robert Downey Jr. But look, I'm glad he left too, you know? Because that guy's a more dramatic actor. I've seen him in a lot of adult films, a lot of mature films, and fucking superhero movies that are not really superhero movies in my opinion. Same thing Chris Evans and Chris Hemsworth. Chris Hemsworth, I'm sorry for his disease, I'm sorry. Look, like I said, all these actors from Marvel that actually pretty much promoted these Marvel movies are leaving, and that's for the best. I'm glad they're leaving to, you know, find better roles in their careers. Like Chris Evans and Chris Hemsworth. Chris Evans, I'm glad he's leaving. And Chris Hemsworth, I feel sorry for, you know. And look, I'm glad that Chris Evans is leaving. You know, I think Chris Evans needs to find a better role. And look, I think Chris Evans I actually, believe it or not, he was actually in Fantastic Four, and I actually liked him. He was the fire guy in Fantastic Four. He was the guy that had, like, those fire powers in Fantastic Four. I like him in that movie. I have nostalgia for that movie. I like Chris Evans in that movie, but he was actually decent as Captain America. I'll leave it as that. But other than that, I'm glad. Yeah, he needs to find better roles. I'm glad he can leave and move on. Chris Hemsworth, yeah, he has this disease. He's going. I feel sorry for his disease. I hope he does better. I don't know what will happen to him. I mean, honestly, we don't know what will happen to him. But either way, I just hope Chris Hemsworth does okay in the end of the day. But that's how I feel with that. But look, other than that, these actors were like big names, big Hollywood names that promote these Marvel movies. And the fact that they're leaving is a good sign. I'll tell you why. These actors were big names that promote these Marvel movies. And now these actors, you know, are gone because they're not there to, like, you know, show some credibility to these Marvel movies anymore. I'm glad they're leaving because they can't, like, promote this material. They can't, like, push this material anymore. So, yes, so Marvel is losing, and that's good. Marvel is shit. It treats... So, and let me just tell you something. Marvel sucks. Their movies suck, okay? These actors appeared in super movies that I wouldn't even consider, like, real superhero movies. And I say that because these super movies are, like, barely adaptations of their comic books, and they feel like parodies than actual superhero movies. Because every Marvel movie I see, like, sure, they adapt some stories and ideas, mostly ideas and inspirations, but they're not, like, really adapting these comic stories. I mean, the animated TV series does better. The TV series does better than these Marvel movies. Like, the TV series are more accurate. A lot of these animated TV series from Marvel is more accurate in adapting the comic than these movies themselves. Also, these movies suck. Marvel is an asshole. Marvel is a piece of fucking shit. Marvel, and Robert Downey Jr., he's a mature... Look, Robert Downey Jr. does a lot of mature roles. Robert Downey Jr. does a lot of serious adult... Look, Robert Downey Jr. does a lot of serious adult roles, okay? No, these are real professional actors, okay? And real professional actors deserve better. And I respect the real roles that they do. Not like they should not be known as, like, the roles that they do. The superhero roles they do. I fucking hate that. Now, that doesn't mean... That's not taken... Let me be clear. That's not taken away that they're not known for playing superhero characters. They did other dramatic roles. And, yes, it's... You know, and it's true that, you know, some actors are known for playing maybe this superhero character. But that's not always the case, because, you know, actors are more known for playing their dramatic roles than their superhero roles, okay? Big difference, okay? And that's definitely true. And that's just not, and that's not just my opinion. That's just an objective fact, whether you like it or not, son. But okay, but back to normal. I don't want to get. Oh, sorry, I don't want to get off. I don't want to get off track. But Marvel, look, Marvel, like their animated TV series is better than their movies. Watch their animated TV series. They're more accurate and they're more respectful of the source material. Okay, they're more respectful of the source material and they're way better than those Marvel movies. Marvel does not respect the source material. Like, I feel like the Marvel movies and the live-action TV series don't really respect the source material that they're based on. Like, all these Marvel movies are just suck. They're jokey. They're shit. They're not even like... All these Marvel movies are trying so hard to be funny. They think they're so funny and hilarious. Like, they're trying so hard to get a laugh out of the audience rather than telling a good story. And that's my problem with Marvel. What's worse is Marvel, like, doesn't even know how to tell a fucking story. Marvel is confused. Marvel doesn't even know what the fuck they're doing. Marvel is a fucking mess. Marvel has to stop what they're doing, okay? Like, they treat their workers horribly. I'm glad there's a writer's strike because, you know, people deserve more because their effects are so awful. Look, about the writer's strike, I'm glad there's a writer's strike because these people deserve better. And it's related to Marvel because Marvel treat their staff horribly. Marvel treat their special effect artists horribly. Like, the people that does those special effects, it's not their fault. It's really the producers that are behind those projects that, like, cause that shit. That caused, like, why Marvel's so bad today, really. So don't blame the people that, like, work their sweat and tears. It's really the producers and the heads on top of Marvel who are behind the shitty ideas in these Marvel movies, the shitty effects and the bad writing and the forced humor in these shitty Marvel movies, okay? It's not like the people at the bottom, it's really the top, the producers. It's producers that's the blame, okay? Not the special effects people, not the writers, not the people at the bottom, okay? The people at the bottom work their sweat and tears in this, okay? So don't blame the people that work on the special effects that work their sweat and tears on these movies, in these TV shows. No. It's the people on the top that's doing these bad decisions, that's doing the forced humor, the bad writing, the shitty effects, the horrible ideas that they put in these movies. You know, I'll go on and on. Marvel is shit. I mean, Shang-Chi was boring. Oh, the movies are boring. Elemental sucked. Shang-Chi was like the worst movie I've ever seen. It was like an extremely boring movie. The Eternals was really boring. It was really shit. So long. It was just way too long for a movie. Really shit. It was garbage and crap, okay? And that's how I feel about Marvel. Marvel is a disgrace. Marvel is just a mess right now. And I just had enough with Marvel, okay? And that's just how I feel about Marvel, okay? I didn't like how Marvel treated MODOK and the Mandarin. Like, they screwed over those villains big time. Shang-Chi and the Eternals were horrible movies and an example of Marvel's downfall. They're a perfect example of why Marvel sucked. But here's the thing. I've not read the comics of Iron Man, but I saw the 1994 anime TV series of the Mandarin. And if you watch that TV series, it's a perfect example of what the Mandarin was like. And he was a great villain in that TV series. MODOK and Ant-Man 3, they really fucked over that character. They turned MODOK into this, like, random guy who's now MODOK, and they CGI him to death. They, like, overly CGI him. Looks fucking awful. Looks terrible. Don't get me started on that. That was shit. And in Iron Man 3, it made it look like as if the Mandarin was going to be the villain in this movie. And when I first saw Iron Man 3, I was like, oh, finally, a live-action Mandarin. Oh, cool. It's cool to see the Mandarin in live action. And he's going to fight Iron Man. Man, this is like Iron Man's best foe. Iron Man 3 was such a disappointment. You know, I was really disappointed when I first saw Iron Man 3. Just especially how they treated the Mandarin. I thought, oh, he's going to be the villain in this movie. He's going to fight Iron Man. But no. The Mandarin is a joke. And he's just a guy he's an actor playing him. And that's dumb. And Iron Man 3 was just a shitty movie, let's be honest. Also, because of just how, like, I don't want to get into it, but, like, especially how they treated the Mandarin was a disgrace. They say it's a guy actor playing him, and he's not the real Mandarin. And, like, they said that in Shang-Chi, the real Mandarin's gonna return. Yeah, the real Mandarin, like, he's gonna, like, teach the actor a lesson. And that the real Mandarin's gonna appear. You know, the Mandarin didn't appear in Shang-Chi. They just hinted at him. So, like, what? The Mandarin's gonna appear in a Shang-Chi sequel? Give me a fucking break. That fucking sucked ass. Look, and this is what they mean. They really screw it. They really fuck. This is a perfect example of Marvel fucking over characters that we love. They have no respect for the source material. Okay? They don't know what the fuck they're doing. if you want to see the real Mandarin, okay, see the Mandarin in Iron Man the Animated Series from 1994. Iron Man the Animated Series from 1994 through 1995 is a perfect example of respecting the source material and a good Mandarin. Because that's a good example if you want to see the real Mandarin in that show, okay? In full display in that show. That show is awesome. That's why you're respecting the source material. Live action Mandarin was not the real Mandarin. And they say they want to bring back the real Mandarin, but I don't care. That's a good example of not respecting the source material, because they were not respecting the source material. I feel insulted the way they try to adapt the Mandarin character. Oh my god, you gotta be kidding me. And they make the Mandarin out to be a joke. He's pretending to be a guy actor character. But then they say they're gonna bring back the real Mandarin in another Marvel movie without Iron Man, even though Iron Man's dead. This sucks. This is stupid. Even though Iron Man's dead, I mean, it's cool that he, sacrificed his death in Endgame. At least he didn't die in vain. But still, Iron Man's dead. So if Iron Man's dead, who's the Mandarin the villain of? Who's he the antagonist of? Is Iron Man's daughter gonna fight him? Is Shang-Chi gonna fight him? Is Shang-Chi the protagonist against that guy? Give me a break. Is Shang-Chi the hero of the story? No. This is stupid. So, yeah, they fucked over the Mandarin. Marvel sucked ass. I hated how they disrespect my favorite character, the Mandarin. I mean, I gotta let you guys know this, but the Mandarin was one of my favorite villains, by the way. They disrespected that character, the Mandarin. I'm gonna let you guys know this now. The Mandarin was one of my favorite villains from Marvel. My favorite characters from Marvel. Okay, I always loved the Mandarin. And they really fucked over the character of the Mandarin, didn't they? They really, really screwed that guy over. I mean, seriously, I don't know how you can fuck up the Mandarin, I mean, I don't know how you could fuck up the Mandarin character. They didn't even know what they were doing with the Mandarin character. That's my problem. Okay, I'll go on and on. And that's why I just think Marvel is just a piece of shit right now, okay? But that's my thoughts on that. Okay, that's all I gotta say. And I hope you like my video. I hope you like this idea of a video of mine. Guys, I'm the Retro Critic, and I'm out. I'll see you guys later. And I'll see you guys next time. And I'll see you guys around. And peace out, and bye.